I'm Eric. I'm an alcoholic. Hey, guys. I got a sobriety date of March 15th, 2010. I'm sponsored. He knows he's my sponsor. I make him work for it. And I'm happy to be here with you guys. Let's do a little qualification here, a little background. So I was brought up in the church, parochial school, the whole 9 yards. Charismatic Pentecostal. For those of you that know what Pentecostal is, I don't need to explain. For those of you who don't, it's speaking in tongues, dancing, and yeah, just short of the snakes. Not bad mouthing the church or religion. Don't hear me wrong. I'm giving you my experience. Sisters went to the same church. They're fine. They still go to the same denomination. My first drink was with my cousin. I was probably about 12. To give you a feeling of how I felt growing up, it was like I couldn't wait for my real family to come pick me up and take me to the right planet. I just did not belong. I didn't understand this thing called life. I didn't understand people. I didn't fit in. My cousin takes me out, says, "Hey, let's try some, what was it? Peach schnapps, tequila, and Copenhagen chew, all at the same time." I'll never forget that day. My first drink, it was my first spiritual experience. I felt one at one. I could relate to you. I could talk to the girls. It was just a great day. Got deathly sick that night. Woke up the next day and could not wait to try it again. And I did that. I chased that for the next 30 years. Fast forward, was it 14 years ago? My son was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he was 17. And for the first time, I felt powerless. Felt like, Alice going down the rabbit hole with the doctors and this and that. It was completely out of my control. I was used to manipulating things. If something didn't fit, I'd get a bigger hammer. I would make it work. This was out of my control. And see, the God of my understanding was back then one like Darth Vader. Okay, he was the punishing God. And in my mind, I thought my son got sick because this was payback. This was my punishment. And I was angry. I was angry at God. I was angry at everybody. I remember pulling over on the side of the road and I would just scream, "God, why my son? Take me. I'm the one you want." Right? Because my understanding of religion and God at that time was there were rules, and I had broken all the rules. And if you broke the rules, you burned in hell. That was the bottom line. So I'm carrying this with me. And God, leave my son alone. Take me. Why are you doing this? My son went through his treatment and he's in remission at that point. And still is, by the way. He's doing fine today. Let's get that out of the way. But I didn't. I ended up going into a pretty bad depression. I was just sitting on my couch. I didn't want to do anything. I ended up going to Kaiser and admitting for the first time to my doctor that I had a drinking problem, among other things. Ended up at my first AA meeting. And I come into these rooms and I look at the 12 steps, the 12 traditions, and there it is. There's God all over the place. And, you know, how am I going to do this? You know, I want to recover, but I can't. I didn't think there was a spot for me here. Because of all this, what I know is spirituality now. And I went to a meeting I didn't normally go to. It was the Concord Originals. And I met my now sponsor there, who also did not go to that meeting. It was a coincidence. If you're in this program long enough, you learn that coincidences aren't those. It isn't that. It was an opportunity. And in this opportunity, my sponsor had said something in the meeting. I don't even remember what it was, but it attracted me. And I pulled him aside after the meeting and I said, hey, look, I got a problem with these steps here, step 2 and 3. I'm at a roadblock here. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I explained to him why. Came to step 2, came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. I said, God doesn't want anything to do with me. Why would he restore me? And he sat me down after the meeting. We spent about an hour and a half in the hallway. And he worked with me. He took out a piece of paper and he wrote my best friend at the top of the page. And he said, I want you to write down all the characteristics of your best friend. Okay. So he's kind, he's got my back, not going to cheat on me, not going to steal from me. He's going to forgive. You know, all these characteristics, good characteristics. And he took the paper from me and crossed out my best friend and wrote higher power. And he says, can you deal with this? I said, what are you joking? It can't be that simple. And of course, he takes me to the book. This is your own conception of God. Well, again, my church background's coming back. You know, thou shalt not place any other God before me. You should be smitten. And he says, look, can you deal with this? Can you work with this higher power? I said, well, yeah. He says, okay. And it was such a pivotal moment in my journey here. I felt like I was in a dark room, and at the other end of the room, the door just cracked open a bit, and you know, the sunlight was coming through. And he says, we'll do this together. Just walk with me. So I was able to work with that concept into what it is today, and hopefully that concept keeps growing. Of course, today I choose to call him God. I pray to God every day. my great grand sponsor, who's his name's Don, he he's passed, but I did have an opportunity to meet with him. He would say, lack of power, that's your dilemma. And if lack of power is your dilemma, then you must have a power greater than yourself to lift this, right? And the problem centers in your mind, and you don't have the power to change that. You don't have the power to remove this obsession, to remove those things that block you from the sunlight of the spirit. Therefore, you must seek this power. So again, this whole best friend or higher power concept was critical in my recovery. Mark a few pages here. Page 23 of our big book, and I already talked about this. The main problem of the alcoholic centers in the mind. See, I always thought that alcohol was my problem, and it's not. It's my solution. It's my go-to. It was my first spiritual experience, and I came into this room wanting a solution to my drinking, and found much more. The whole concept of I'm sorry, I get my mind goes too fast for me sometimes. I'm here to talk about step 3. Made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand them. Turn my will is my thinking, problem centers in my mind, right? Turn my will is my thinking, and my life is my action. In order to find this power that is greater, that this power that's going to relieve me from my alcoholism, I have to unblock that which blocks me from the sunlight of the spirit. The book talks about selfishness and self-centeredness. That is the root of our trouble, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. I did not understand that coming in here. Because if it wasn't for you guys, I would be okay. I blame everybody else. If you guys would just line up the way I have this in my mind, everything would go great. The show would go on great. But no one did what I wanted. And for someone like me, my self-worth, and the way I felt about myself was all based on external, you guys, right? And what I've learned through this process by handing it all over to God, by handing my will and my life over to God, is I can approach you, speak the truth, step back and put the outcome in God. It doesn't matter how you react. I'm picking on you, but you look like a good target. Nice guy.
Go ahead.
So so by just that one example, that one little attitude change, I've removed one of the stones that I built. You know, I had this wall of brick, and each one of these were a character defect. And by putting the outcome in God's hands and removing selfishness and self-centeredness, not me, of course, by asking God to remove these character defects, life has just gotten much, much better. I would have to drink over you guys, drink over the frustration, drink over the resentment, and I drink for the just because. But now my self-worth, my self-esteem, as the book calls it, is based on my relationship between me and God, not between me and everybody else, not between me and my boss, not between me and my wife, based on my relationship with God. Am I doing God's work today? I'm given a choice every day, every hour, every minute. I'm given a choice, a decision to make, to go towards God or towards self-will. I'm not perfect, but I'm working on making those decisions take me towards God. Because I don't want to end up in that with that feeling of not belonging. Right? I belong here now to be of service, and just love when it's not called for. It's a new way of thinking, and this is all based off of the third step decision to turn my will and my life. But it is only a decision, right? You heard the fable of three frogs sitting on a log next to a stream, and they decide to jump off the log. How many frogs ended up in the water? 0. They just made a decision and they didn't take the action. Mm-hmm. I decided to save money, so I opened up a bank account. And 5 years later, I show back up, and the account's still 0 because I didn't take action. I didn't go there once a week and put $1 in the account. And step 3, it's just that. It's a decision that takes 4 through 12. This is a program of action, and without it, you're going to remain stagnant. As I like to say, gravity sucks. Absolute 0, you're just gonna drop. You shoot the arrow, and it drops. Aim high, aim towards God, and be of service. Prayer has become a terrific tool in my arsenal. One of the things my sponsor had me do from day one was start praying, even though I didn't mean it. Even though I didn't know what I was praying to. Do it. Just do it anyhow. Try it. What do you got to lose? What time am I going to?
You actually can have 5 minutes, actually.
Okay. All right. Does want me to keep going? Page 406. On page 406 of my big book, one before that, one of my favorite topics or paragraphs in this book is that God does not make too hard terms with those who seek, right? That door that opened, that sliver of light that I saw was just that, my best friend, and it gave me an opportunity to move forward. But God doesn't make two hard terms. All you have to do is seek. Seek is another action word, right? And from that, God does the rest of the work. The book also says that, all this time I was searching for the answer, searching for help. I knew my mind was messed up. I would listen to Anthony Robbins and inspirational books and trying to fix myself with a broken mind. But it was a waste of time, because the lack of power. I had to have it's like a computer virus. You can't ask a computer that has a virus to fix itself. It needs some outside help. I had a computer virus and I needed a technician, an outside technician, to work on this and my soul. Back in the back of the book, 406, this phrase struck me as well. So I finally began to separate the religious aspects of my life from AA's spiritual program. Now, the big difference to me is that religion is a ritual, and we all differ there. And spirituality is the way we feel about what we do. It's about my personal contact with my personal higher power as I understand them. This is not a religious program. It's not a self-help group. It's just, I say it's not a religious program. It's not a self-help group. This is a spiritual program, and it is the answer. If you expect any other solution to your problem, talk to me after the meeting. Let's work past that. There's nothing to be afraid of. If I can do it, any of you can. And I've seen atheists, agnostic, make this work. The spiritual aspect of this, the spiritual principles are built into this program, into the steps. And after making the decision and going 4 through 9, I guarantee results for you. I'll give you your money back otherwise. I think that's all I got. Thank you.